Now that you've had a chance to unzip the Math for Marketers 2.0 template, I'd like to go ahead and walk you through how to use this tool. Now, in the event you haven't unzipped this and opened it up yet, I wanted to say a couple things. First of all, you should be able to open this with any edition of Microsoft Excel. There's nothing too complicated in this edition. You may have some different colors or different things that don't show up just the same, but ideally this should open up pretty much in any version of Microsoft Excel. Secondly, if you don't have Excel, you shouldn't have any trouble opening this up in OpenOffice or any of the other free spreadsheet programs that will open up Excel files. And you can actually confirm that everything's working by just putting in some of the sample numbers that we're going to go over, and you should get the same values in your template. Another thing I want to point out is most of the cells are not editable within these sections here, and you'll notice over here you can't click in any of the cells, and that's because I didn't want to accidentally introduce a situation where you might delete an important formula, and as a result of that be getting incorrect numbers, and so everything would basically be incorrect. So the only cells that you can select are the cells that you can put information in, and the rest are not selectable. And one more thing, these cells are already formatted. So say for the current price field, if I want to put in a price of $25, I don't need to put in the dollar sign, or you just need to put in the decimal point. So let's say it's $25. I can just type 25 and click anywhere, and it will automatically format it into $25. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and put in, first of all, some numbers that are hypothetical numbers, and yet they're not too far from some actual numbers for an existing campaign I have. So I'm going to put in a current price of $9. There's roughly 989 impressions per day. There's a 2.4% click-through rate, and there's a cost per visitor of 25 cents, and there is a conversion rate of 3.2%. Now let me stop here and just say one thing. You will remember in the previous video I mentioned that it may be possible that you don't have the impressions per day. In other words, the number of times that your advertisement is seen, or maybe it'd be your video, or maybe a search result, or maybe a page, how many times the page comes up in the organic rankings. If you don't have that number, but you do know how many visitors you get per day, you can simply go to the impressions per day and put the number of visitors per day. So let's just say I have a page and I know it gets 220 visitors per day. So I'm going to put 220 in there. Then for the click-through rate percent, just put 100%. That will give you the visitors per day value of 220, and this field is important, so you need to make sure that the visitors per day is correct. So that's one way to get around that if you don't have the impressions per day. You can basically just skip that field by forcing it to be 100% click-through rate and just put the number of visitors per day. But I would really encourage you, if there's any way to get that data, you need to be gathering that data, because this is really an important point that you can leverage, and you'll see how in just a minute. So let me go ahead and put my numbers back in. I had 989 and I had 2.4% as the click-through rate. Okay, what we're going to do at this point, what you need to know is that this section right here is what your current campaign is doing. Okay, now this could be hypothetical in the event that you haven't even started a campaign and you just want to play around with some numbers, but in our case we're just taking an existing campaign and we're plugging the numbers in. Now what we need to do is copy exactly what we did right here into this section right here. So let's go ahead and put $9 for our product price. It's 989 impressions, a click-through rate of 2.4%, a cost per visitor of 25 cents, and a 3.2% conversion. We want to basically just completely copy the values from here to this section. You'll notice I have some labels here on the left hand side. We've got the product cell, the traffic cell, the sales cell, and then we have the same thing repeated here, and then you'll notice in this lower section we have 4 additional product sections here. Let's just talk first of all about this top section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down here so that you can see these 2 boxes here. This is what we're currently making per day, 90 cents. We're currently only making about $27.06 per month with this campaign. This is the section that will show us our potential based on the changes we make in this template in this area. And so this is how we can kind of position the 2 sections together and really to see what the changes, how they affect the overall campaign. Let's just go ahead and start with price. We've got this ebook, it's selling for $9. We really haven't thought too much about price. I mean, we thought $9 sounded good when we first did it, but now we're interested in maybe testing price. We really don't have a reason to change the price. It's going to be the exact same product, but we are interested to see what would actually be the effect of just raising the price even if it lowered our conversion rate. So I'm going to go ahead and just arbitrarily choose to raise the price to $12. So I'm going to change from 9 to 12, and as a result of that, there's this effect that it actually lowers our conversion rate to 2.75%. Now you'll notice right down here in this section, these values just changed. We're now making about $56.97 as opposed to originally making $27.06. Now there could be a lot of reasons we would change the price, and we could change it much higher by actually adding to the product. But in this case, I'm just referring to the concept of just going to the page, changing it from $9 to $12, and seeing what happens. So that's exactly what we did. We changed the price to $12. We saw the conversion rate go down to 2.75% instead of 3.2%. Okay, so it did have an effect on the conversion rate, but we're still making almost double, more than double of what we had before. So then we got this idea. What would happen if we actually changed the price a little bit lower to see if it would have an effect on conversion rate? So we decided, let's just try a little trick, one of those tricks you see all the time in some of these big box stores. Let's change it to $11.97. Now that's only 3 cents cheaper, but because it leads with an 11, I wonder if that would affect conversion rate. And sure enough, when we change to $11.97, we see a boost in conversion rate to 3%. Now remember, our original offer had a conversion rate of 3.2%. Now we've adjusted the price to $11.97, which was actually a price decrease from $12, but we saw the conversion rate go up to 3%. And you can see the effect that that had on our gross profit per month. We're now making $77.69 per month. So we thought, what could we do next this campaign? That was a pretty easy change. That took only a few minutes, a few days of testing to come up with the data. This is great. What could we do next? Because we're using pay-per-click, we decided that one thing that wouldn't take much time for us to do is to go back to our keyword tool and see if we couldn't find some additional keywords that we could put into our ad group and into our campaign so that we could get more impressions per day. So we do just that. We go into our keyword tool, we add some new keywords, and we immediately get an increase of 1,989 impressions per day. Now that's the only thing we do. We simply just add some keywords to the campaign. It doesn't take much time, but you notice that that little simple change by getting more impressions per day, it gave us a gross profit per month now of $156.24. Now we go ahead and we take a look at the click-through rate. And I realize I'm working in these just down in the exact order they're presented. You could work in any order you want to, obviously. And I really encourage you just to play around with this template and plug in your own numbers and just see what you can come up with to get some ideas and to generate some ideas for how to make more money with your campaign. So in this case, we take a look at our ads and we say, these ads, they're good, but I wonder what would happen if we spent about an hour just looking at these ads and trying to think of some new ways to get attention to our ads, to try and increase awareness to our ads so that we can increase the click-through rate. So we do just that. We write 2 or 3 more ads, we start split testing those ads, and over the period of a couple days, we're actually able to increase our click-through rate to 2.9%. And now you'll notice that we're now making $188.79 per month as opposed to the original amount of $27.06 per month. We then look at this cost per visitor. Right now we're paying 25 cents per visitor per click. In this case, it's pay-per-click. So it's costing us 25 cents to get a visitor to our offer. And we kind of wonder what would happen if we lowered that down to just 22 cents. So 3 cents less per visitor. And we realize that when we do that, we're probably going to be a little bit lower down on the page, maybe one position down on the page. And that translates to a click-through rate percent of 2.6%. So instead of 2.9%, we're now at 2.6%, but we were able to lower our cost down to 22 cents. So it was really just 3 cents per click, and it lowered our click-through rate percent. But look what it did to our profit per month. Instead of having $188.79 per month, we're now making $215.80. Now, really, most people wouldn't think to do the math on a 3 cent cost per click change, but they would never realize how much that would really affect their overall campaign. We start to think about what else could we do, and it pops into our mind that we were able able to really increase the amount of money we're making per month just by adjusting the price. What would happen if we made a little bit more drastic of a price increase without really changing the content? And so we think about this for a minute. We think, what would happen if we just went up to $19.97 for the product? So $19.97 instead of $11.97. And after doing that, we realize that it actually lowers our conversion rate considerably from 3% down to 2.2%. But look what happens to our gross profit per month. Even though our conversion rate went down quite a bit, and we only went up roughly about $7, $8. We went up in $8 in price. It dropped our conversion rate from 3% down to 2.2%. But now instead of $215.80, we're now making $340.29. And now we think, that landing page, we could probably take the copy that we're selling this offer for, and we could actually maybe write some more reason why copy. We could maybe do a better job describing what the customer's going to get, maybe add a video to the page, maybe add some more proof elements. And so we do that, and we decide we'll split test the old page against the new page in just an A/B split test, maybe using something like Google Website Optimizer. And so we split test our new copy against our old copy, and we're pleasantly surprised that by including some new proof elements on the page, and by including some new bonuses, or even including just some new reasons why they should buy the product, or maybe some testimonials, we're able to bump up that conversion rate by split testing to 2.9%. So now we've jumped from $340.29, and in just an afternoon's work, we've now got $557.16. Now keep in mind that our current offer, as it stands, is only making $27.06. We're now up to $557.16 just by making a few small changes, but there's relationships between all these changes, and it continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger as we work down this list. Now at this point, we haven't even discussed the idea of back-end offers and emails, one-time offers within the sales funnel, upsell offers, or downsell offers. And I can tell you that when you start to play with these specific values here, you will be amazed to see how everything is connected and how small changes in your conversion rate will greatly affect the value of your back-end offers. And there are so many things, so many factors that go into play. I really want to encourage you just to take the template now and to use it. Start to think about the little changes you can make, put all the information in, and see for yourself how small changes within any campaign have great effects on the overall value that you get from your campaign. Even 2 and 3 cent changes to your cost per visitor can greatly affect the amount of money that a campaign makes. So go ahead and take the template now, use it, put it into practice, and see what kind of little changes, how playing with numbers, you can make more money out of any of your campaigns.